Welcome back to the Soulrocker podcast, and I am your host, Vanessa Delgado. And in today's episode, I want to talk about, so do women seek attention for dressing a certain way? And first, I want to apologize if my voice sounds a little bit off. I am still recovering from congestion. I had COVID, so I'm still kind of recovering from that. But so I am sharing the idea that society seems to have this perception of all women that dress a certain way, like showing more sex appeal, that it means that they all seek attention out of insecurity, or that, you know, they don't have any kind of respect. And I include myself in this a lot because my own sense of style has prompted me to question my own beliefs and reasons of why sometimes I like to dress that way. In the last couple of years, I finally have gotten to a place where I feel confident with my body, and all the hard work with building muscle and just shaping it the way that I've always, or the way that I've essentially grown to consider what I feel like is super sexy in a woman, and what I personally want it to look like. And I have always been really girly and like feminine type of girl since I was very little. My mom actually would joke around about how I was practically coming out of the womb with long hair and nails and makeup. So as long as I can remember, I have been obsessed with my long hair and wanting nails and makeup and playing dress up all the time. I had to bring up astrology, and when I got to understanding my natal chart and realizing that as a Taurus, sun and moon, which Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is all about things that has to do with beauty, sensuality. And I'm also a Scorpio rising, which rules Mars and Pluto. So it speaks a lot about sex and mystery, transformation. So it's no wonder that beauty and appearance is important to me. Plus that essentially helps validate a lot of my desires and to accept them more because of it's essentially of who I am. And I know people might not agree with that, but I don't give a shit. And also, you know, there is a sense of the way that I grew up was very much, you know, I grew up with my mom who's a Virgo, and they're all about the same type of thing. Like to me, like, so let me go back and say, to me, style, fashion, makeup, and using certain accessories is a way to express myself. I know the other day I was on Quora. I don't know how to say that, but essentially it's like a website where people go on there and ask questions. Like there's a bunch of feedback and shit. And so I was on there, and there was people that were saying like, oh, don't let it fool you that if somebody says that style and fashion and makeup and blah, 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 like, that's a form of expression. Like, that's bullshit. And it's like, sir, I don't know what the fuck planet you're on, but in some people's world, like, that is a fucking fact. Like, that is an actual truth. So anyways, that kind of annoyed me, but it is what it is. Like, that's his perception. And obviously, like, that's all he's known. So, you know, can't really change that. And so, you know, back to like being raised by my mom, who's a Virgo, who has always raised me with me always looking my best. You know, they're known for being perfectionist. So, you know, and that's how she raised me. She was like, don't ever, like, she would always say, like, make sure you leave the house looking presentable. She didn't say I needed to look perfect, but presentable. So she would be like, my mom would never leave the house. She was not showered. She did not have some type of perfume on, and her hair was put together. Like, all of those things, at least, you know, don't go out looking raggedy. Like, you just like got upset, like, you know, got up from the bed and like you just walked out. Like, you didn't give a rat's ass about just yourself and your presentation. Like, that was something that she always like taught me. So kind of combining everything together, you know, it's just how I was raised and how I see things. So she would tell me how she noticed how people often, you know, would treat her differently when she would, like, she's like, I can tell when people, like, when you care about yourself and you show respect, like, people will treat you so much more differently than if you just look like you don't give a shit about your appearance, you know? You You get more respect from people when you look better. And it's not that one has to be like essentially like beautiful, like, you know what I mean? But it's simply putting on clean and put together clothing. And you don't, you know, you do your best to present yourself so you're not speaking ratchet to everyone. You know, like there's a time and a place for kind of acting a fool, whatever, like using slang and all that. But you don't just go out there looking like you just rolled out of bed. You know, it was like a no. And the combination of all these things, essentially, like I said, it makes me me. And I don't have a specific way to describe my style because I love dressing in different styles. Like it depends on my mood each day. But in most cases, I like to show my curves in some sort of way, you know, in the hard work that I put in. And it's not to say that I'm doing this every single day, but oftentimes, like, there's something that I like to show. I like to make most outfits have a sense of flirty or sexiness to them. I don't always dress in tight clothes, you know, or wear short dresses and shorts, but like there's something about what I'm wearing that kind of like still seems very feminine and put together. You know, I have been raised and taught to show respect without taking away who I am. I'm self-aware of who I am around and like the occasion. So let's say that there's an event where there are lots of kids around and I probably like won't show cleavage. You know, if I'm around family, like I show respect and wear something where, you know, I can show the respect. You guys will get what I'm saying. Like the point is that I still am me, but more conservative. There's also I just feel like there's a time and a place to kind of like pop off and act like hot girl summer, you know, and people will have their opinions and their thoughts on this and not agree. And that's their perspective, or maybe most women that they've come across and what society has fed them. So, you know, that's something that I can't change. I was not always into like this style of like flirty and sexiness. Because obviously, you know, it was like I was younger, but now as I've grown and matured, I'm in my 30s. So I have a really good understanding of what it represents, you know, to dress a certain way or to look a certain way, what possible consequences and that brings, and what it is to feel confident in myself. I have accepted the fashionista in me and not feel guilty for being that way. The expression aspect to what clothing can increase in my mood, like all those things I've paid attention, and I'm like, yo, I really feel like genuinely feel good when I'm wearing this type of material or these colors or this kind of showing this off, you know, like I began incorporating that essence into the way that I look and I dress. And I mean, I think a factor people often miss, or the fact, is that they don't pay attention to the person's energy and how she carries herself. Like, so people sometimes will just kind of like label a girl that likes to dress a certain way or look a certain way as like they're all in the same box of just like, you know, doing it for attention or for insecurities. But it's like, you're not even paying attention to her energy, because her energy looks a lot different from the other girl over there, you know? So like, two women can be identically dressed the same, let's say showing skin, but if their body types differ and one has more curves, one has more of a sex appeal essence to her compared to the other one, that is something that she can't help. And why does she need to hide it? You know, in addition, I think that the way one carries themselves speaks volumes, as I was just saying. I don't care if you have that sex appeal curvy body, or if you just look kind of like, you know, skinnier and just whatever. And I don't mean it in a bad way, but I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to describe it. So what I'm saying is, like, even if you know, it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Like, it's the way that she carries herself. You know, a girl who, I've seen plenty of girls that really don't have much of a body yaddy, you know, and they're dressed like revealing all kinds of shit, and they're posing, you know, like, I want the attention, versus I've seen girls that are curvy, that have whatever, and, you know, whatever is, whether they're dressed normal, conservative, or more showing off, you can tell that there's a difference within, the way that they carry themselves. And there is a difference between confidence and attention seeking, which is like, I don't know that some of these people that are judging and are making these types of comments even like fathom that aspect of things. Like, are you even paying attention, bro? Like, if you're confident, you don't need attention. And there's an energy about her that you'll just see it. And I feel like that's the type of energy that I carry, or at least I try to embody. I'm conscious of that. And in my personal perspective, I dislike attention, but I will catch it regardless because of how I often choose to express myself through appearance. But I don't actually want it, because attention to me, that often is coming from an empty sexual place that I don't really give a shit for. Attention from males especially is not really feeding me anything, because often it's just a reaction from the drive that's, it's been driven from normal hormones, not because of who I am as a person. So really it's not flattering for people to look at me that way, but I'm not going to stop just because there's a potential to bring that kind of, stare and glare. I can't stop living my life just because of that. And they will turn around and look at the next girl even if she's half attractive. This is how dudes sometimes are, males, no disrespect. I'm just saying that's just how men, in many cases, in their hormones, just how it works. So you just have to show skin. It doesn't matter how voluptuous you are, how attractive you are. They're just gonna look and they're gonna judge, because if that's their perspective, then that's what they're gonna do. To me, that's not really actually a compliment when you're kind of just looking at everyone that's showing off a little bit of skin, or that's showing some type of energy that she's seeking attention. That's not really given. So sure, many women do dress for those purposes. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but what I'm saying is it happens a lot. But to say that all women are the same, it's just, I think it's really close-minded in my opinion, because there's a bunch of studies about colors and all this shit about how it catches certain attention and it creates a certain serotonin and blah blah blah. But that's just a whole nother that's a whole nother topic that I really don't want to get into. It's just something I wanted to kind of mention, because sometimes I'm just I really can't. This was kind of a ramble, short episode, but hey, if it sparks something, if anybody agrees, hit me up in the notes, the comments, whatever, let's debate or not, because I really don't care to debate. It is what it is. It's how I feel.